Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and so we are very hyped here for the new Guilty Gear game, right? And I figured this is going to be a video here just to compile everything we know about the game so far to date. So every bit of info dump, every interview, everything we could find here, this is just going to be a summation of all the facts as we have it right now for the new version of Guilty Gear coming out. So first and foremost, the big thing, hey, when is it released, right? So it will be out in 2020. As for when it comes out in 2020, we aren't sure. I can tell you this, history tells us generally ArcSys games, especially the fighting games, tend to release in the first half of the year, and also trending towards the beginning half of the year. So I'm talking like February, March, right? That said, ArcSys does have another fighting game coming out next year, Granblue Fantasy Versus, right? And we know that will launch in February, at least in Japan. So I don't think they're going to directly compete with themselves right off the bat. Because, you know, Guilty Gear comes out 2 weeks after Granblue. It's going to really hurt Granblue sales, right? So we don't know when, but the trend of history is, hey, earlier in the year rather than later. But we do have the Granblue launch to consider. So we'll see, I guess. But, hey, that's just what history tells us. Now, as for the roster in the game, we know 4 characters currently. Saw Bad Guy, Kai Kisuke, the new, as of yet, untitled samurai character, and Mei is in the game as well, right? So this game has no reused assets at all. It's going to be a brand new game from scratch, right? So, hey, they're not going to be able to fit everyone that was in Revelator 2, I'm sorry to say. So they will be aiming for as many characters as possible, and they want as many returning fan favorites as possible, but due to the fact everything has to be created from scratch, and you know how ArcSys games work, they're very beautiful and all that, takes a lot of time, not everyone will be returning. Also, they have no current clue as of the moment what the starting roster number will be. So, continuing with the, hey, it's a brand new game from scratch, it's a brand new game from scratch. So, this is not a continuation of the XRD series, just like the XRD series wasn't a continuation of the X2 series. It's going to be its own thing. The plot will continue for the story mode and all that kind of stuff, but it's very much its own thing from scratch. And keeping in mind the fact that it's from scratch, they really are doing this from scratch just to stress this, because they want to stress this a lot in interviews as well. So expect large changes in terms of the gameplay. They're basically just looking over everything what the franchise is, what is Guilty Gear, and just beginning work again from a ground level. They state specifically they only want to bring forward what they consider the best parts of the franchise. They want to avoid a lot of the baggage of the earlier games in terms of mechanics and all that. They're not married to anything. They just want to bring forward what they consider what is the core of the series. And in doing so, one of the biggest goals here is they want as many new players as possible. They're trying to focus on making the game easier for new players in terms of playing it, but also just from like a spectator standpoint, because to them, visual clarity is a very big deal. They want people who don't play fighting games to understand what's going on too as well, and sometimes Guilty Gear's a little crazy, right? So sometimes if you're not well tuned into what's happening, it might not make a terrible lot of sense, right? That said, even though they want to bring in new players and they want to make things easier for players to understand, they don't want to simplify the game, just make a lower barrier to entry. They still absolutely intend Guilty Gear 2020 to be a high skill cap game, just like every Guilty Gear before it, and there's no plans to dumb the game down, quote unquote, right? They want to avoid having beginner mechanics, so stuff like auto combos is specifically named. They want a game that's just easily understandable from the get-go, so you don't need stuff like auto combos. They very much stress they want to bring in a new audience to this franchise, not just the people who already played the previous games or, the old FGC geezers like myself. With that all in mind, they want the new audience, so for basically the first time ever, ArcSys is not targeting Japan. They are targeting overseas, so we're talking like North America, we're talking Europe, right? These are now taking priority over Japan. Not to say they're snubbing Japan or anything, right? But if you want to reach a new audience, hey, you got to go to the overseas markets, and hey, that's us, right? Also, they say they have a very large focus on wanting to make sure the game works with pad to bring in a new audience as well. And that one I don't really understand that one, as I think Guilty Gear plays just fine on pad. In fact, I prefer Guilty Gear on pad over stick myself, right? I just find it easier with a lot of air dashing and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know, but they're designing the game with pad in mind, and the overseas players, North America, Europe, are the priority this time around. As for some story bits, the samurai character that's in the end of the first reveal trailer, he has something to do with the history of the franchise. They're not saying what, they're being a little bit vague. As for Mei, a lot of people you might know say, hey, Mei looks older, and hey, yeah, she is older, although the game doesn't take place too long after Revelator 2. On the music front, Guilty Gear, legendary for its music to be sure, is still being done by Daisuke Ishiwatari, so he's still doing the music, so no worries on that front. He's got it on lockdown. They also want to stress that this game will not be PlayStation 4 exclusive, so perhaps just like Dragon Ball FighterZ, it'll launch on Xbox on PC on the same day. Generally, Guilty Gear comes out on console, and then PC at a later indeterminate date. But yeah, they stress it's not a console exclusive, so we'll see, but I guess that means Xbox launch day 1, probably PC launch day 1 as well. And the next time we're going to get a trailer or info will be at CEO Otaku, so that's going to be September 27th through the 29th, and we'll get our next Guilty Gear trailer then. So yeah, just bringing you a lot of the info as I now know it. Very hyped for the game, very much looking forward to it coming out. Also, hey, if you're listening, just on the off chance, hey, you want to make North American and European audiences a priority over Japan? One great way to do that is roll back netcode. No more delay-based netcode, please. Thank you very much. We would very much appreciate it. But yeah, so that is all the info as we now currently know it. So looking forward to more, and we'll get more in the future, I am sure. But anyways, that's it for me, and that's it for this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.